Where do we start?
Well, I've looked at every low and medium risk missing person reported in the region over the past 3 months. I've focused on the 5 groups most often targeted by UK multiple murderers.
Which are?
Well, ask your son. Sounds like he would know. We're left with those. We need to focus on her, Taylor Davis, aged 16.
Why isn't she high priority?
Because she's ran away 3 times in the last year. But she always returns between hours 24 and 30. We're now in hour 60. No sightings, no phone, no social media activity.
How long have you been here?
We're creatures of habit. That's what creates patterns. Taylor broke hers. Do you have a car? I'm going to see Taylor's investigating officer.
Oh, I'm going to love it.
I know.
I know. I'm going to love it.
Right up my street.
You say you were surprised that they contacted you for the role.
Yeah, well, I'm always surprised anyone thinks of me for anything, so...
You stop that right now!
Well, yeah, no, it was great to be thought of to be, like you said, on the side of good for a change.
Yes.
I think having been committed to such evil with Malcolm Webster in The Widower, they thought it would be, you know, to give that kind of level of commitment to the side of good in Sean would be an interesting thing. So I was really pleased, yeah. I think it was because of that that I even was thought of.
As you mentioned The Widower, let's just discuss that before we get on to what you're doing now, though, because that was...
terrifying.
Chilling. And we loved it.
It was brilliant.
Oh, good, thank you, yeah. It was a great thing to do. I mean, obviously, it was a real sense of responsibility with it being a true story and people really properly affected. You know, it's one thing to read about murders and, you know, terrible things, but when you're actually confronted with the people and the victims, it's, you know, it's overwhelming. And to feel that, you know, their lives are completely changed by this man. And my version of Malcolm, who was this wife killer, was the version that the wives knew. There was a nice man, you know, and it was extraordinary to have to play that kind of level of intensity and truth, but it was all a deceit.
And you, while you were filming that, were you away from your family quite a lot?
Yes.
So you could sort of really get into
Yeah,
the
it was good,
character.
actually, yeah. I was kind of completely isolated, contained in Ireland, and then I came back with my bald head, because I shaved my head for the part when he's doing his horrible thing, pretending he has cancer. And so it was good to kind of have it all done and then come back and my hair grew back and I was me again. That's how,
Well, thankfully, not quite such an emotionally draining role, this one. Although he's a complex character.
Yeah, he is.
You said something during the clip earlier on, which is really good, because he seems to have...
a hard drive instead of a brain. His ability to process facts and figures and patterns and spot those things. It's almost borderline obsessive.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And there was an element of feeling like Sean might be on the autistic spectrum, you know, and he's using that ability to channel it into finding these patterns and helping find these missing people.
So we should explain the story, really, because he's moved, within the police force, he's moved into the missing persons.
That's right,
I mean, he's sort of got out of the way, really, isn't it? Let's just move him. Yeah,
they feel like he's, you know, he's a bit of an embarrassment because he's kind of speaking the truth about how we failed and people have died and we could have got there sooner had we done this and that. So he's kind of ousted out of the police and put in to the missing person units, which they think will just kind of house him and keep him away. And then he starts using that.
With this, there is an element of reality, because there are 30,000 people a year go missing in this country, and 300 of them are never found.
Never found, yeah. And this is what is the jumping-off point for this drama, really, the idea that within that, if you are falling between those cracks, imagine if there is someone preying on that strata that no one really bothers with. You know, you're flagged as high risk, medium risk, low risk. If someone is just kind of getting the right strata of disinterest, you vanish, and that's incredible to me.
His partner, Ruth, who's played by Alex Kingston, she comes in, she's kind of the perfect combination with him, because she brings that, she's much better with people for a start off. Yeah. So she kind of helps him in a way. Yeah,
I mean, I think some of the humour, hopefully that there is some humour in the darkness of the story, because it's quite a bleak storyline, is kind of gotten out of the fact that Sean is very, you know, not interested in people skills. You know, he's only concerned with the facts of the matter and getting in and out. Do you know where that person is? Right, and he's gone before he doesn't take a bye. So there's no reason for him to kind of negotiate with people or even think about what they might be feeling. So that's very daunting for Ruth, who has to kind of, that's her entire life is about looking after people and kind of having those skills. So she's left in the wake of Sean, who's gone, and she's, I'm sorry, we'll contact you. And so there's some quite nice, and the kind of understanding between us is what is charted over the 4 that we've done. I think that is an interesting kind of process to see how they kind of begin to respect each other and then need each other as well.
Did they give you a list of things that he was obsessed with?
Yes, well, not particularly Sean, but a list of things that on the autistic spectrum people can become obsessed
right.
with. And it was kind of, ultimately, I was reading this list and it was pens and sound waves, and in the end I realised it can be anything.
Anything, yeah.
And that's the thing, and I think we're all on it to some degree. I get my keys out 2 streets before I turn up at my house.
Always?
Yeah. And Steve Pemberton is always laughing. He's come on quicker, you've got to get your keys out. You lost precious minutes. Got to get there at the door. So I think, you know, there are moments where, you know, it's just a slightly different way of negotiating people.
What else? Have you got any others?
Well, I'm very... I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, okay.
No, I haven't got any others now. But that's enough, I think. That's quite strange.
It's a good
but
one.
I have some... Yeah, I'm not... I know some people that can't leave the house without kicking all 4 walls and things like that, and that's where it becomes, like, slightly, like, encroaching on your
yes.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think everybody does it.
I mean, it's hobbies, isn't it? That
yeah.
is his hobby kind of gone to the nth degree. I am obsessed with magic. I love magic, and that would be my thing.
But
and
your
one of the
obsession
things...
with magic isn't necessarily sort of through a child's eyes. It's the kind of the whole performance and the psychology and everything
Yes,
that goes
it
into
is.
it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, yeah. And I've kind of... It's grown. I mean, it really has. As I've gotten older, and no one can tell me that I don't have to do it, I've kind of become more increasingly obsessive about collecting magic memorabilia. My house now at the top is completely dedicated to it. My wife's
Is
like,
it really? Did you ever think about going into magic and sort of that sort of thing?
No, not really, no. I did a little bit of children's entertainment. It's the worst thing you can do, of course, because kids are very unforgiving. You know, what's that? It's going in your pocket, what's that? So, no, I wouldn't do that. Adults are much more polite and good. Oh, very good, yeah, and they've seen how you do it, but they don't say it.
Yeah.
So, no, I'm more interested in kind of the mechanics of the, you know, the high level of skill that's required to do something that looks like nothing.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, an interesting trick would be even more incredibly kind of impressive if you knew how it was done. But that's thrown away, you know, and that interests me.
I love the fact that I can already see the drama as you as the troubled magician, and
Yes.
with what you can do with your face and
Yes.
how terrifying it can become.
Well, thank you very much.
I think that would be a very good idea. I can't let you go with that because there are a lot of fans asking, and so we will ask you. Next year's the 20th anniversary of League of Gentlemen.
Wow.
20th
so
depressing.
anniversary.
There
My
are many
God.
people who say, would you all ever get back together?
Yeah.
It would seem unlikely because you are all doing such important jobs elsewhere.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, all it will require is us to say we are going to do something and sit down and go, right, from this point on, that's the project, and you can't do another Sherlock and you can't do another Benidorm, and we have to just all stop doing the things we're doing in Psychoville Inside Number 9, so we... and we want to, and the will is there to do it, so I think we will do something, yeah.
Watch this space.
It'll just be a matter of... The other thing is not to spoil it. It's such a great love of it in the past.
Yeah.
And we have to be really careful about what it is. But the will is there, and we really... and we've been meeting about a thing. We've got a thing.
Well, everyone who... You've got a thing.
Yeah. Got a thing.
There you go. They've got a thing.